Hey guys, Spencer here. Y8051 on Xert, R1A if you know me outside of Xert. I'm going to try and go over probably the question I get asked the most, which is regarding weapon mounted lights. I get a lot of questions as what's the best light out there on the market? How many lumens should I get? What's the highest amount of lumens I can get for X amount of dollars? A lot of that is actually an unanswerable question. It's going to depend on your systems, what you're wanting to implement them for, what your individual needs are, what your area of operations are. There's a lot of factors that go into that, and a lot of times those questions are overlooked in lieu of what's the latest and greatest brand. Well, he has this on his, so I need this on mine. So I'm going to kind of go over two different light manufacturers that I would personally recommend, and I tend to recommend, depending on your situation, as far as finances go, area of operations, and how you'd like to implement them into your system. Alright, so the first light we're going to look at is going to be from a manufacturer I'm sure you've all heard of, Streamlight. This particular model is going to be the Streamlight TLR1 HL. The HL stands for high lumens. It is advertised at 630 lumens. This one is going to be mounted on a CZ75 P07 chambered in 40. They're an absolute awesome light in my opinion for certain situations. It weighs 4.3 ounces loaded with the batteries on it. It is water resistant to 1 meter for, how long was it?
30 minutes.
For 30 minutes. A couple of the features on it, which I personally like, would be the momentary on. You push the light down, you release it, it turns back off. It also has the option to stay on until you want it back off again. You press the momentary side twice and now you have a strobing feature. On the other hand of that, you're just adding more to the functions, which could create more stress. When you get in those stressful situations, your body mechanics break down and you resort to your level of training. So that's something to keep in mind if you are wanting it for that feature. 630 lumens for this light is extremely bright in my opinion, for what you would probably use it for. 9 out of 10 times this would probably be what you would grab in a home defense situation. So you're talking 10 meters and in. If you have bright white painted walls, you're probably going to regret ever turning this on yourself. The nice part about the Streamlight is the bezel type. Versus having a super concentrated beam, these flood out a lot more. So to me, when I turn it on at night, this feels more of a 300-ish lumen light than it would a 630. That's just my opinion. The housing on it is aluminum, fairly durable. The coating on it feels really glossy, slick to the touch. There's not a lot of frills to it. The mounting option is extremely easy. It'll mount to quite literally anything. Here it's mounted on a CZ, and here we have one mounted on a Glock 19 without any attachment decorations. So mounting options are good on it. Yeah, Streamlight TLR1 HL. This is a 630 lumen light. As you can tell, it spreads that beam out a lot wider than the Surefire, making it a lot more bearable. This feels to me more like a 300 lumen light versus a 600 lumen light. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the Streamlight on the left and the Surefire on the right. You can definitely tell the beam difference. If I bring the Surefire over into the TLR1's path, it overpowers it as far as the center beam goes, which it's very obvious. The Surefire also has kind of a yellowish hue to it, whereas the Streamlight looks more of a bluish true LED. I don't know if it has anything to do with the walls or the paint. That's just what it's appearing to me now.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go over the Surefire. I'm Tim from Templar Elite Tactical. I'm a firearms instructor. We're going to go ahead and clear the weapon, and it is clear. The Surefire X300 Ultralight, or U, as it's actually known, is a very rugged light. It's about 600 lumens. Unlike the Streamlight, it is built extremely well. Not to diss Streamlight, but this is outdoor ruggedness at its best. Streamlight's great for concealed carry, law enforcement, and stuff like that. Surefire, you're starting to get into military, tactical training, real outdoors use. As far as the light goes, it's 600 lumens. That is extremely bright. The benefit is it is a concentrated beam, so if you did go from outdoors, which would be its ideal use, to indoors, it's probably not going to snowball you as bad as a Streamlight would, since a Streamlight floods out the whole room quite literally, as Spencer indicated previously in the video. This has such a concentrated beam, it doesn't snowball you. So that's a tactical benefit. Obviously, if you can't see your target, you can't shoot your target. So as far as the features of it goes, it runs for about 1.5 continuous hours. This one has not been tested to prove that yet. It's brand new. We can touch base on that later. It just has an on-off, unlike the Streamlight. It has strobe, momentary. So this actually has very positive action. It's very simple in the high-stress situations. It's on, it's off. You're going to use it for what you need it for. You're going to flip it off. It does not have a momentary. It doesn't matter if you flip it down or if you flip it up. It is on. It's completely ambidextrous. You can use it left-handed. You can use it right-handed. It does have the tactical knots on the front of it as far as flashlight goes. If you wanted to plug into somebody with that, sure. It is durable enough. It probably would actually hold up as being used as a blunt force instrument. So as far as the Surefire goes, it outperforms the Streamlight almost on every level. It outperforms it in durability. I think it's waterproof, not just water resistant like the Streamlight. The Streamlight is actually 1 meter for about 30 minutes, which is, yeah, sure, okay, it's raining outside, it'll do fine. The Surefire, on the other hand, this is 25 meters for an hour. That's actually saying something. So this is rain, this is, drop your gun in a puddle, you're going to be able to pick it up. It's still going to work. That's the difference between even the price points. If you look at something like the Streamlight, you can pick it up for about $120 to $150. Great flashlight, nothing wrong with it. As far as the Surefire goes, price points are $300 for the Surefire. You are getting $300 worth out of the Surefire. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I understand some people can't afford $300 for a flashlight, and I don't blame you. I personally don't like spending $300 on a flashlight. The Streamlight is about $120 to $150. So depending on the application that you're going to be using it for, as far as what is superior, in my humble opinion as a firearms instructor, this is far superior than a Streamlight. But is it practical? That's the difference in really what you need to look at. Is it practical for your situation? If this is going to be sitting on a nightstand inside your house, would that require you $300? Probably not. I would go ahead and go with Streamlight. However, because the Streamlight is 630 lumens and it is completely flooding the room, I would probably go with a lower lumens with that Streamlight. 300, 200 if you can find it. So that's it. We're going to go ahead and move on to another Surefire that Spencer's going to go ahead and go over with you. That's going to be mounted onto an AR-15.
into rifle mounted lights. Whenever you are going to make a purchase such as this, it doesn't need to be for aesthetics, and it doesn't need to be because it's a cool light and this is what Travis Haley's running, or this is what Instructor Zero has on his. It needs to be very personal. You need to step back and ask yourself, what am I actually going to be using this for, and how can I implement it into my system? The light I have mounted on this rifle, it is clear, is the Surefire M620V. I'm going to cover a little bit of the spectrum here as far as price points and lumen output. This is only 150 lumen output light on the visible side. A lot of people ask, well, why did you go with that versus a Surefire M600U that has 600 plus lumens of light output? I don't need it. I'm not one that's going to turn this on outside in the middle of a field. I run night vision, which is what drove me to this purpose. Is night vision is a totally separate system, so this light was purchased to enhance that system. Some of the features on it, you turn it on, you have your visible LED there, you flip the head of it on, you twist it, you'll hear it click. Now you won't see this light unless you do have some sort of night vision or IR capabilities. The runtime on this light is 1.5 hours. I've gotten 1.5 hours out of it on constant on during some night vision courses. The mounting on it on this particular light is pretty simple. It just has a throw lever, so it makes it easy putting it in and out of the case. Some of the pros on this are the operating temperatures, negative 60 degrees all the way up to 150. So there's really not an environment anywhere that me personally, I'm going to put this light that it should not operate and perform to the top of its capabilities. It is water resistant up to 30 meters for an hour. Again, I'm not a maritime guy, I'm not on a boat. I don't have to worry about putting this off the boat and swimming down to retrieve my rifle. More than likely I would dump this rifle off in a creek, or some of the ranges I go to, sometimes it's raining or adverse weather. I'm not going to have to worry about it getting wet internally, things of that nature. Some of the cons of this rifle, probably my biggest complaint of this light in particular would be the price point. Surefire still has it advertised. You can still buy them. The problem with it is that it is a $600 plus light if you buy it new. I've heard of guys buying them used for a couple $100, so that is possible. The light looks cool, things of that nature, but I would not recommend it to anyone not running night vision. There's just no need for it. It has a definite blue hue to the visible light, and it floods. It does not have a tight compact beam, not even on the IR side. So I find that to be a perfect mix for what I would use this light for, which would be internally, home defense, things of that nature. You hear someone in your garage, you go check it out. You're not going to have to worry about it snow blinding you. It does weigh a little bit more. This is right under 6 ounces. I believe it was 5.8 ounces with the two 123 batteries that it takes to operate. I haven't had a problem with it draining batteries on its own. I've had this set of batteries in this light for 3 months now. Use it off and on, and it's still going strong. It's extremely durable. I've actually owned this light for a couple years now, and it's been mounted right next to this brake. None of the bezels breaking apart or loosening up. Nothing's stuck. And I couldn't even begin to try and clean the carbon off of this if I tried. So that's basically a quick sum up of the light I personally chose to go with my rifle, and the reason why I implemented this particular light for my rifle is because I took a look at my particular kit and system and chose to go this route to enhance my system, which I think is the question people should be asking themselves, versus you know, what's the highest amount of lumens I can get for X amount of dollars, or what's the greatest brand. Those are unanswerable questions, except by yourself. I'm going to wrap that up on this particular Surefire here.
I'm going to go ahead and go over the Streamlight here. This is actually mounted on a SIG 516. This is piston-driven rifle. We won't go over too much about the rifle since we're looking at the light. The light is a Streamlight TLR1 HP. This light is a lot different than the Surefire. One, starting with the price range, you can buy this also for about $150. Probably not much cheaper than that. This is specifically made for a rifle. This is a 200 lumen light. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, and this is where people get mixed up, is if you're actually looking at a light just for lumens, then I would say you need to take a step back and you need to research what that actually means. This 200 lumen light here actually outperforms probably a 600 lumen light that was on that Glock 19 and the CZ75 P07. This beam is so concentrated, it has a distance of 432 meters, quite literally 432 meters, and that's off of 200 lumens. It is built nicely. I'm not going to say it's built for ruggedness. On the other hand, it has a very large lens on it. It is strong. I personally don't feel that it is really impact resistant. Since it is so big, obviously if you drop it, it can cause you problems. As far as the ruggedness of it for the elements, it's just the same as the Streamlight that was on the Glock and the CZ. It's 1 meter for 30 minutes. That's it. So the price difference is obviously a huge thing. You do get what you pay for. On the other hand, I don't need anything like a $600 light because I don't do a lot of things as far as even Spencer does. Spencer does loads of training with his rifle. I do train with my rifle quite a lot. However, I train more with my pistols. Just personal preference of mine, I just love my pistols. As far as the pros of this, 432 meters is a very long distance. So what would you use this light for? Well, let's go over what you wouldn't use it for. You wouldn't use it inside. You most definitely would not turn this on inside of a room. Although it is only 200 lumens, it is extremely bright. If you are staring where this light is hitting on a white wall, it's no different than you just looked at the sun for a couple of seconds. All you're going to see is white after that. So that is what you wouldn't use it for. What you would use it for, on the other hand, is if you were outside doing patrols, taking long distance shots. Obviously, I'm not going to take a 432 meter shot at night, but I might take a 100 meter or maybe even a 200 meter shot at night. So I wanted the option to do something like that. Difference though, you really need to ask yourself, what are you going to use it for? That's hands down the first question you should ask. Not what should I buy? Tell me what to buy and I'll give you my money. It should be quite literally, what do I need? Okay? If you don't need it, don't buy it. If you don't need a flashlight on your rifle, don't buy it. If you need a flashlight, buy it. I don't have night vision, so unlike Spencer, he trains with night vision. He uses night vision. You need a flashlight with night vision if you want to see further. I don't utilize night vision. I don't even own night vision. So I don't need something that's IR capable. But that is the difference between a $150 price point and a $600 price point. As far as its uses between the two, honestly, just like a gun, there's no one do-all gun. Okay, we can't buy a firearm that does everything. It can't shoot every type of bullet. It can't fix every situation. There is nothing out there on the market that is that way. There is a tool for everything. This is for outdoor use only. So if you need something that's a little bit cheaper, it's 200 lumens, very concentrated beam. There's no joke. This beam is very concentrated. Okay, go ahead and wrap it up as far as that goes. Really, you need to ask yourself, what do I need? What can I afford? And what is the availability? If you can answer those three things and give yourself an honest answer, I think you'll find that there's more on the market than you think.
All right, so in closing, this was not meant to be a review video of any particular light. This was more to give you opinions on why I chose this option versus why he chose that option. And I also wanted to cover two different spectrums of light outputs and price points. And I really wanted to drive home that the questions regarding this are really unanswerable besides by you. And hopefully this can help you in a future purchase in making that decision. You can really take a step back, ask yourself why I need one, where I'm going to use it at, and how I'm going to implement it into your individual system. And that's about all I've got.
Just like he said, you just really want to put some thought into what your purchase is going to be. You don't want to go out and just buy something and kind of like guns that we have all bought. Yeah, we went out, bought a gun, shot it for a little bit, and then we turned around and sold it. You really want to hang on to your purchases. Make a really good, smart, educated, and well-informed decision. Don't go overboard. If you don't need a $600 light, if you don't have night vision, if you don't have all these other things that you just honestly don't train with, and I'm not going to say that you don't need, because the more the merrier in my eyes, but if you don't honestly train that way, don't waste your money doing it. Yeah. There's cheaper options out there that are rugged enough for you. If it's strictly for concealed carry, if you want the best, in my honest opinion, I would go with a Surefire. That in my opinion is the best, but you're going to pay for it. If you just want something that is rugged enough for you to carry around, it's not going to break, it's reliable enough. If you pull it out, you're going to be able to use it, but you're not going to be using it every single day. Buy a Streamlight. It's $150. It beats the hell out of anything else that you're going to buy within that price range, or even less. But do remember, you get what you pay for. Okay, you go out and you buy yourself a $20 light, you're going to get $20 worth of service. On that note, we're going to go ahead and leave it. You always want to train safe, train smart, train hard. And remember, if you cannot be safe,
Be lethal. Have a good one.